All right, it's no secret that Bodygame, will make you a lot more attractive to women, right? It's no secret that, you're going to get a lot more choosing signals once you actually hop on Bodygame and you start holding yourself to a higher standard, right? One thing you got to realize is that there's certain secrets that women won't tell you when you hop on Bodygame. You know what I mean? Because if you know these secrets, if you understand and you have awareness of these secrets that they won't tell you about Bodygame, once you're self-aware, self-awareness leads to power, right? It makes you a lot more powerful as a man. It actually allows you to kind of move differently around these females, you know what I'm saying? And man, I'm not even trying to sound all like one of these red pill guys, right? But I truly believe that there's there's certain things that women won't tell you about Bodygame, right? And I'm going to get into it right now. But before we get into the 3 secrets that women won't tell you about Bodygame, I just want to say, make sure you book the link in this. God damn, it's hot out here. But make sure you hit the link in the description if you want to work with me personally so that you can reach your fitness goals and build a physique that commands attention, right? If that sounds like you, hit the link in the description and we'll see if it makes sense to work together, right? Little shameless plug for those of you guys that need it. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe while you're at it. And yeah, let's get into the 3 secrets that women will not tell you once you hop on Bodygame. Number 1, women will not tell you that you are the prize when you're on Bodygame, because Bodygame makes you the prize. You become the prize when you're on Bodygame. Why? You become the prize because you hold yourself to a higher standard. You're self-improving on yourself. You're taking care of yourself. You're making yourself more valuable. You're literally transforming yourself. You're working on yourself. Anybody that works on themselves, guy or girl, that makes you a prize, right? You can't just walk up. I notice a lot of in this whole generation of, I guess, whatever you want to call it, gender wars or whatever, men and women, they like to be like, I'm the prize. I'm the prize. Both sides are saying they're the prize, but you're not putting in the work, right? You know what I'm saying? So in order for anyone to become a prize, I truly believe that you need to be putting in some level of work into yourself, something that actually makes you valuable. You can't just step onto the scene and say you're a prize, right? But back to the original point, what I was saying though is that Bodygame makes you a prize because you're actually working on yourself. You're working on your discipline. You're working on your physique. You're building a physique that commands attention. You're holding yourself to a higher standard, right? And women won't tell you this because they're going to try and downplay it. They're going to try and downplay. And I've actually seen this in my own life where it's you're him because you're putting in the work, right? You're doing the things you need to do to to be successful, right? You're putting in those daily deposits, and you'll find that sometimes because she knows that you're him, she doesn't want you to know that, because if you know you're him, then that's when you're going to kind of not bend to her will. That's when you kind of become a yes man, when you don't understand your own value, right? So she's gonna try. This is not all women, but a lot of times, depends on the ego on this chick, right? She might try and downplay what you got going on because she doesn't want you to get a big ego for various reasons. I don't know, maybe it's a situation where you guys are seeing each other or whatnot, and she doesn't want you to know that you're that guy, because then maybe she's gonna think you're gonna leave or whatever and go for another girl or some shit like that. Or a lot of it stems down to insecurity. So that's why I say not all girls do this. A lot of it stems down to insecurity. And that's why they're going to try and downplay what you got going on, because a lot of times they're insecure and they feel they don't want you to know that you're him, because if you know you're him, that kind of gives you the power, right? It kind of shifts the power, and they kind of want, and this is mainly insecure girls who will do this. They kind of want to have the control. That's why they're they're going to try and downplay what you got going on. And also they just know that they probably know that you're getting a lot of positive reinforcement. So they're okay, they're going to think okay, this guy probably has a big enough ego. Let me knock him down a peg, right? And I think that's just human nature in general. When I notice, when people kind of are not humble and they kind of acknowledge that they have things going for them, people are going to try and downplay them. And that's a natural part of human nature, right? I'm going to get this from both men and women, right? Second thing that she doesn't want you to know about Bodygame is that Bodygame is actually going to make women a lot more intimidated towards you. And this is not all women, but some are actually going to feel intimidated by you, right? Because if you think about it, you're a guy, you're working out, you're self-improving on yourself. You're doing the things you need to do to become a better man and all this type of stuff, right? And that could be intimidating to a lot of women, right? Because like, especially if this is a girl that probably doesn't work out as much as you do, or maybe she doesn't work out at all, she's gonna think like, oh shit, like, this guy's probably gonna judge me because of my lifestyle. He's probably gonna think I'm like a slob or something, or, you know what I mean? Like, cause I think there's a kind of a negative perception that a lot of like gym dudes are like judgmental, or like gym people in general are like judgmental, and they're gonna kind of judge you for like for living a lifestyle that's not similar to theirs. And there's some truth to it. Like, some gym people could be a little bit judgmental, right? Like, you know what I mean? So that's why a lot of times like women might be intimidated by you when you're on Bodygame, because she's probably fearing that you're gonna judge her based on like her lifestyle or whatnot, if her lifestyle doesn't quite kind of like align with yours, or like, and also just the intimidation of like when you're like a muscular dude and, you look like you're in shape, you walk around with that confidence, you kind of got that aura to you. That can be a little intimidating, because it's like, a lot of times it's weird, because confidence and like having that dominant aura it kind of, what's the word? It's kind of weirdly associated with someone who's like a dick, someone who's kind of like cocky or like rude or mean. So she might actually think that you're like arrogant, or like, someone who's like, yeah, like a dickhead, or like someone who's like arrogant or whatnot, right? So those are one of the things that they will not tell you, that they could be a little bit intimidated by you, because they're feared that you're probably going to be judgmental, because, you go to the gym and whatnot, right? So that's why it's a good thing just not to be judgmental. Like me personally, like even like on this channel, whatever, like, yeah, I tell people like, you need to get in the gym, you need to hop on Bodygame, whatever. But I'm just saying based on what's worked for me, right? You don't have to follow any of this advice I'm telling you right now. Like, you can still live the same lifestyle. My only thing is that if you are upset with yourself and you choose to live in a way that makes you upset with yourself, then there's an issue, right? Then we have a problem. But if you're happy the way you are, you can keep doing what you're doing, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, in this world, it's like, you don't need to be like judged. I'm kind of like the type of guy who's like, just let people live their lives the way they want to live it, right? Is what it is. It's like, I always share my perspective, because you know what I mean? Because maybe my perspective could help, but at the end of the day, it's your choice if you want to follow the advice or not, right? But that's a little side tangent. Number 3, the third thing that women don't want you to know about Bodygame is that they will spin the block, right? They will spin the block on you. They may not admit it, but they will spin the block, right? A lot of times you'll find that, like, when you make that glow, once you make that glow up, like, say for example, maybe you were obese. Maybe you were really skinny, scrawny, right? You were out of shape before, but once you make that night and day difference from in shape to, from out of shape to in shape, you become a totally different person, right? And so, say for example, she sees you out and about, whatever, when you were like out of shape, you were like, maybe you were obese, maybe you were really scrawny, right? Your physique was, you were invisible, it wasn't nothing to write home about, right? But then years later, you have a massive glow up, you look max and all this good stuff, you hop on your self improvement, and she's like, oh shit, like, this is a totally different guy. She's gonna like respect you more. She's gonna try and spin the block. When she ignored you, maybe she rejected you back in the day, she's gonna spin the block because you've self-improved on yourself, right? They're always that's the thing about women. They always spin the block eventually. They always find their way back, because when they see that you've actually leveled up and you've improved yourself, they will spin the block, right? They will spin the block back, because they want to see like, oh shit, like you've actually worked on yourself. You're kind of like a lottery ticket. You know what I mean? Like, when you're like, you're investing into a stock or like a lottery ticket or something, and then boom, you blow up. You know what I mean? You give a nice return eventually. You know what I mean? They will kind of like, they will bet on you, right? They're going to say, okay, like, you know what I mean? And they're subconsciously, they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to bet on this guy. You're like kind of like a horse. I'm making a lot of analogies here. Bear with me. But like, you're kind of like a horse, right? And like, you're running with a bunch of horse and shit. And she's going to see, okay, I'm going to bet on this horse. This guy's going to be a winner. This guy's going to be a winner, right? Or she might bet on you and be like, nah, this guy's going to be a loser, right? It's one of those things where it's like, she's going to bet on you to see if you actually self-improve, to see if you actually become the man that you say you're going to become, right? So that's why they will always spin the block, right? So that's why it's always important to keep self-improving on yourself, keep working on yourself, because they always come back, right? But that's all I really have to say for today. TLDR, keep self-improving, keep hopping on Bodygame, reap the benefits. Hit that link in the description if you want to work with me personally to reach your full potential, to hop on Bodygame. If you need help getting more choosing signals, you need help building a physique that commands attention, a physique that turns head, I'm the guy for that. And we'll see if it makes sense to work together. So hit that link in the description if that sounds like you. Man, it is hot in here, so I'm making this quick as possible. But make sure you like this video, subscribe, send this to someone who really needs to hear it, because I know a lot of you guys need to hear it. And remember, there's nothing enlightening about playing small. Catch you guys next video. See ya.